this is Jenna.
And this is Heather.
And this is Conspiracies Unlocked. And do you guys remember American Horror Story Roanoke? That had a lot of them had Kathy Bates, but Kathy Bates was in it, and it was about a civilization of people that like disappeared, and it was like their backstory.
No, and a fun fact, I do not watch American Horror Story because it's scary, and I do not like scary stuff. But I
love scary stuff.
I'll watch it with you, but if I have someone to watch it with, I'll watch it. But if I'm just alone, like my kids won't watch it with me. Maybe
That's
Isla.
sad. Yeah, she would watch it.
Yeah, she likes scary stuff. But I do.
Have you seen The Haunting of Hill House?
No.
The TV show?
No.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I love it. But I do
I'm making Brad watch it with me, rewatching it.
Wait, what is it called?
The Haunting of Hill House. It's good.
No.
It's on Netflix.
No.
You have to watch it. Everybody out there has to watch it.
I don't like it. It sounds scary. I do like Scream Queens, though, is what I was going to say.
Oh,
which is an American Horror Story.
I wanted to watch that.
I started rewatching it like 2 days ago. And
oh my gosh.
It's semi-scary, but it's just more like gory.
Well, I just ended my show that I was watching. I was watching The Discovery of Witches.
I started watching that too.
And I just finished it.
The acting is
yesterday.
So bad. The acting is worse than like a soap opera.
Well, anyways, I finished that yesterday. So, or the night before. So, I'm going to start on Scream Queens. Where do you watch it at?
Either Netflix or Hulu.
Okay,
I'll
forgot. Find it.
It's one of those.
I have both of those. So, anyways, okay. So, that American Horror Story was actually based on a real thing, Roanoke Island.
You need to come this way.
A bunch of people, like over 100 people, just disappeared sometime between 1587 and 1590. Completely gone, never to be seen again on Roanoke Island. So these people that disappeared in the American Horror Story, they were like real people. And it was based off of a real thing. And a lot of like American Horror Story things, I think, are based off of real events.
It makes it even worse.
I know. All right, so let's back up and let's go to the 16th century. So during that time in the 1500s, everyone from England was hell-bent on going to the quote-unquote New World in order to colonize it and break free from the monarchy in Great Britain and then also the Church of England. Sir Walter Raleigh was born in 1552, and he was a North American explorer that pushed the idea of creating English colonies in North America in order to challenge the Spanish colony policy. So they were trying to, like, the Spanish were coming up,
yeah.
The English were coming this way. They're trying to, like, fight over the land and colonize it as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Power.
And fun fact, Sir Walter Raleigh brought back tobacco and potatoes for the Queen.
Ooh.
Elizabeth I. On March 25th, 1584, Queen Elizabeth granted him permission to explore. She said he could rule and take over any remote, heathen, and barbarous lands, countries, territories not actually possessed of any Christian prince or inhabited by Christian people. Okay. That was her quote. Mm-hmm. The heathen, barbarous land,
yeah.
So, all the Queen wanted for her compliance and allowing him to go was 1/5 of all the gold and silver mined there. And so she gave him 7 years. Go there for 7 years, figure your shit out, and then make a settlement, do whatever, or you're done, come back. But she was providing the ships and she was providing everything. Mm-hmm. So, on April 27th, 1584, the first expedition, they found sorry. They did their first expedition and they landed on Virginia, present day Virginia, okay. But they named it Virginia for the Virgin Queen Elizabeth. So that is why Virginia is Virginia.
And it stuck.
Yes. Well, I think a lot of the names stuck, like Roanoke Island.
I don't know if they would have renamed them or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of them did stick from the early settlements, especially Virginia. Because even like, even in the movie Pocahontas, it was called Virginia. In 1585, a military group was going to raid the Spanish ships because they wanted to be the first English colony in North America. Meanwhile, they ran into all sorts of issues with the natives. Like, the natives were like, no go. Get the fuck out of here. We're done. So they left in June 1586. But they left 15 men there. And they also left all of their supplies on Roanoke Island. And then those men were never seen again. So this island is literally eating up people. Or it's the natives eating up people. So, July 22nd, 1587, Raleigh attempted colonizing again with a whole new group. So he's like, all right, let's do this again. Try again. He took a navigator, Ferdinand, with him. That was his, like, navigator. And he didn't bring military with him. This time it was a whole new diverse set of people. It was families. It was all sorts of people, because he was like, okay, the 15 didn't work. With the military, 15 didn't work. So let's do families, because this time we're actually going to colonize. So we're going to build the houses. We're going to do all this stuff, and we're going to make it a real village. So they were attempting to get to Chesapeake Bay, but instead they ended up on Roanoke Island again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they were trying to get to Chesapeake Bay, which is not that close to Roanoke Island. It's not like they're right next to each other. And this group was led by John White. The ship's name was called the Lion, which I thought was fun. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the navigator, Ferdinand, refused to let people, like, back on the boat. Once they got off the boat at Roanoke, he's like, okay, you cannot enter back on this boat. Like, you're here now. Goodbye.
Oh, that's
crazy,
how they basically got abandoned there.
Yeah, it was like a one-way trip to Roanoke. But the problem was, that's not why they got, well, kind of. By November, they were out of supplies. So John White went back to England just for, like, a quick resupply. He was supposed to be there for, like, less than a year, and he was going to come right back again. I mean, and that, a quick supply nowadays, you'd be gone for a couple days. But back then, it was, the 1500s were not, they didn't travel that great, so it would be like a year to resupply. He left over 100 people on Roanoke Island while he did a quick supply trip. He even left his daughter, Eleanor, his son-in-law, Ananus, and his own granddaughter. Her name was Virginia Dare.
Oh, how funny.
Isn't that cute? Yeah. For, like, the 1500s, like, Dare is the middle name.
Yeah, that's cute.
But she was named Virginia because she was the first English settler to ever be born in North America.
Oh, wow.
So they named her after the state, I guess. Like, that makes sense to me, why they would do that.
Yeah.
So when White returned to England, he didn't know this when he left, but there was war, and the Queen ordered every ship to stay put because she was scared that the Spanish Armada would capture the ships and use them against England. Mm-hmm. So no ships were allowed to leave port. Once they're there, they're there. Mm-hmm. Finally, in 1588, so 2 years later, England won against the Spanish Armada. Oh, and also, the Queen didn't want anybody that could fight in a war to leave either. Everybody needed all the help they could get. So that was another reason why he couldn't go. Even if he got a ship to leave, mm-hmm. she wouldn't let him leave. Nobody was allowed to leave England.
Yeah.
So as I said, in 1588, England won against the Spanish Armada, and White was able to get a small fleet together to go rescue. So the navigator, Simon Fernandez, was, like, super stoked to go on this rescue quest because he had heard of these enormous riches from a Portuguese navigator that said that there's, in Cuba and all these other places, there was treasure to be had and found.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of going straight to Roanoke, he was like, no, It's my crew. I'm navigating. We're going to Cuba first.
Yeah, I would want to find the treasure also.
So they wanted to check for the treasure, and they wanted to capture ships with treasure. So now they're becoming pirates. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Also, French pirates then intercepted them pirating. And
everybody's just a pirate.
Yeah, everyone's like stealing things in Cuba. And so they took everything. The French pirates just came along and took everything off their ship.
Oh, the French ones did?
Yes. And finally, 3 years after they originally left Roanoke Island, they arrived back at Roanoke Island.
It took them 3 years.
1 year, 2 years because of the war.
Yeah.
And then 1 year to go to Cuba and deal with all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
So finally. But the problem, no one was there.
Where did all the people go?
The houses had been dismantled. But all the supplies were still there. White and the other colonizers had talked about moving to like a more secure location before he had left.
Okay.
But they weren't planning on actually doing it until he came back.
Maybe things just got really stressful and they had to find another location.
Yeah, because of weather, etc. Before White left, they decided that if they did leave on their own, they would put Croatian, they would like carve it on something that he could see as like, okay, we left on our own. So he would kind of like follow the breadcrumbs to find them. Mm-hmm. But if it was by force, they would carve a Maltese cross.
Okay.
There was no cross found. But there was, it was weird though because they left with no planning, no packing, no nothing. It was like they just one day up and left.
It was like they had to evacuate.
Yeah,
for
there was
some
like
reason.
very quickly. And the boats were gone.
But if they were going to evacuate, how would they have time to dismantle their homes?
Maybe they were already starting to dismantle with the hopes that, oh, John White's going to be back soon. Let's start doing this so we can move once he gets there. Mm-hmm. Maybe it had been a year, so they're like, oh, he'll be back any second, like any day now. Let's start doing this.
Okay, I can see that.
But what was weird was that the boats were gone.
Then either someone stole them or either they needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
Fast.
So the only clue, breadcrumb, was that there was CRO carved into a tree trunk and then the whole word Croatian carved into a log on the abandoned fort wall.
Okay.
So that means that they left on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were planning to leave on their own, but then something happened. So Croatians were friendly natives on like the barrier island across from Roanoke Island.
Okay.
In fact, Manteo from the Croatians even traveled back to England with earlier explorers to learn English so they could translate and help each other out. They were very friendly. They were nice. They got along. So he was actually taken back in 1584 with the other explorer, Walter Raleigh, when that guy left the 15 people behind during that time. John White was hoping that they had just moved in with the Croatian and they were safe and everything was fine. So John White decided to go towards the Croatian island. He got to the Croatian island, which is the Outer Banks, OBX, which is today OBX.
Okay.
And if you guys watch Netflix and you guys watched Outer Banks, this is where this took place.
Outer
OBX.
Banks.
Yeah. Did you watch that TV show?
I did watch some of it, I didn't finish it.
That's like where he's trying to head to. Weather was so bad that on the way there, 7 people drowned while just trying to get to shore. Mm-hmm. And finally, they got to shore on August 18th, 1590. It was on Virginia Dare's 3rd birthday.
Oh, wow.
And,
Did she make it?
She's gone. Everybody's gone.
Oh, yeah, no, she's gone.
So what was weird, though, is that they promised that they wouldn't let White's possessions get looted and that, like, everything will be fine. We'll keep your shit safe while you go. Just go and come back. Your shit's going to be here. All of his shit was still there. his books, his belongings,
that's suspect. Yeah.
everything, and it was carefully hidden, which even then adds more to the mystery of they were carefully put it aside, and they hid it where he would find it.
So they hid it assuming they would be coming back for it?
He would be coming back for it.
Okay.
But the weather was so bad, he was unable to stay on the island or move closer inland. He was forced to go back to England because of how bad the weather was. He had already lost 3 anchors, 7 men, and he couldn't lose a 4th anchor. That would be like driving on your last tire. Like,
yeah,
you can't, like, he just had to go back. He tried and he tried to get another search crew going, but he was never able to get anybody to do it, to go with him. So he ended up never going back again. He retired to Rayleigh's estate in England. So Walter Raleigh had an estate, so he just retired there.
So he
just left everybody.
So they never knew what happened to those people?
No, they're just gone.
I wonder if they got lost at sea since the ships were missing.
Yeah, that's a theory. So let's look at the theories.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I was also thinking something.
What?
Were the Croatians cannibals?
That's a thought, too.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know anything about them. Like, could they have gone over there and been like...
It could have been conflict with the Native Americans. Am I allowed to say Native Americans? Is that politically correct? I forget.
Say whatever the fuck you want. Native American is Native American.
Okay.
I mean, that seems like appropriate
American
to me.
Indian? Is that Indian American?
Native.
Okay.
Native American.
So anyways.
I say Indian.
They could have had conflict with the resources as far as maybe they're using too much of the food. The settlers were using too much of the land, so they got rid of them. The cultural differences could have had some issues in getting rid of them. Disease. The Europeans brought smallpox and measles.
True.
So maybe they were like, dude, we gotta get rid of you. Like, you're killing us, literally.
Yeah.
So did the Native Americans retaliate? Did the colonizers had to like venture for more food, so maybe they went onto their land and they got sick of them encroaching on their land and using all their shit.
But if they were by the coast, I would think they would be fishing.
But maybe the fish are drying up or something. I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah.
Because Moana, on the movie Moana, they had issues getting the fish because they were drying up.
Well, I mean...
But that was a curse.
I mean, there's also, like, mussels and, like, crabs and all kinds of other, like, little...
So the Indians and the colonizers would trade.
Yeah.
But obviously, they were running out of supplies. So if they didn't have anything else to trade for, could be another thing. And Roanoke Island cannot sustain... agriculture. Like, they were completely dependent on the natives for food.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's another thing is, like, what can actually grow there? I didn't even think about that. Like, what did they have?
Nothing can grow on that island. It's not sustainable. So then another one is, did they starve and start eating each other? Cannibalism.
Oh, yeah.
They might have started to eat each other. It could have been pirates and raiders. In the 16th and 17th century, it was the golden age of piracy, and there was a lot in the Caribbean and the Atlantic Ocean. And the Americas were a target. There were so many, the Spanish galleons were always traveling through, and so they were a major target, especially if you look at Roanoke and you see a bunch of colonizers with babies and women and children, and they're an easy target. They're isolated. They could just, the opportunity is right there. They're on an island, just swoop by and take their shit, which could be why the boats were gone. Because they took the boats.
Yeah, and a lot of times, when they could have taken
the people,
they're going to take the women and the children, too. They're going
for slaves or whatever.
Kill the men and take the women.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
So that they could have done that. They could have dragged the boats behind them with all these women and children, even the men. Who knows? Okay, how about this? What if they tried to sail back to England? I don't buy that one.
I mean, that would be really difficult because
it took them weeks,
it's
months.
like a month.
To get there on a big ass ship.
And if they have no supplies already, are they going to risk going out to sea?
And what? Yeah, because John White could be back any moment. They don't know.
And there had to have been fresh water on the island somewhere.
And also,
out to sea, you would have no water.
If anything, it would only be a couple people would go out to try. It wouldn't be everybody, you know. Mm-mm. So, or maybe they did move in with the Croatians. Maybe it was assimilation into the natives, and everything is fine. Maybe they had the cultural exchange, intermarriage, adoption of Native American customs and traditions, and maybe they just assimilated themselves with them and was like, cool, now we're here. And the inscription Croatian is just simply saying that that's where they went. Yeah. But John White couldn't really get to them.
Yeah.
So he never really found out. I like to think that's what happened. Yeah. And in 1607, Captain John Smith, that one, Pocahontas John Smith, settled in Jamestown, Virginia. And William Strachey was the secretary for Captain John Smith and like that whole adventure. He said that he had spotted 4 Englishmen, 2 boys, and a young woman that were spotted south of Jamestown and were being used as slaves for the Enode tribe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they could have only been from Roanoke because of the children and the woman. Mm-hmm. If it was just men, I would think maybe the original 15 men.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's been 30 years, so those men would be like 50, 60. People didn't last that long back then.
Yeah, and if they have women and children, they're going to use them for the women can be cooking and like they need more help.
Yeah. So also, 100 years later, there were stories of gray-eyed Native Americans who were speaking English in villages in North Carolina and Virginia. And they had gray eyes.
So are they saying they
yeah, marriage intermingled. The Hatteras tribe was living in North Carolina in the OBX and are also said to have white descendants in the mix. This tribe was the same tribe the 1587 colonists called Croatians. Yep. So over the next few centuries, tribes would grow together to form larger tribes, or they would just die out. Because, like, the English settlers are coming, they're colonizing, they're taking over. So in order to fight back, they would merge together.
Yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense.
The Lumbee are a tribe in North Carolina, and to this day, they are said to have had Caucasian features from the beginning. And some of the Croatians did merge with the Lumbee. And today, the Lumbees dismiss this theory. Like, they're like, no way. No, we did not come from English settlers. This is stupid. We're 100% Native American, blah, blah. However, the Lumbee have always spoke English.
That's the only language?
And they have no record of any other language. So they don't know where they learned they don't know. They don't know what they had before. They've only spoken English. Like,
yeah, you would think they would have their own language.
Yeah, there'd be artifacts of, like, other languages. There's nothing.
Huh, that's interesting.
And, of course, we can't have a theory of missing people without some supernatural shit. So, obviously, they were abducted by aliens.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Or they found a time travel portal, and they time traveled.
On the ship? They went
on the
ship.
Island.
Oh, on the island.
Or maybe they found a cave and discovered a lost city.
Maybe they found a cave and the giants ate them that live in the cave.
Or the Native Americans put a curse or a hex on them. Which that could be true, but...
I don't know. I'm really leaning towards, and since there's so much Native Americans in this, I believe that the Native Americans probably said, "You're coming with us, and we need you to help cook and clean and hunt and whatever and slave or whatever you want to call it."
Because you think about
or maybe a girl, maybe they fell in love with each other too. It could be like a love story.
Yeah, just like in 1923 in that TV show. God, I watch way too much TV, I think.
I liked 1923,
I did too. It was really good. But yeah, any of that could be a possibility. Or like you even think about it, and the smaller tribes would band together to be safer.
Yeah, of course.
So why wouldn't, if you're already chill with the Croatians, why wouldn't you be like, hey, can we go together and
let's merge
together?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you?
Especially because if the natives saw that they were pretty much abandoned there.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, maybe if they didn't have any conflict with them, if they were always like, like
they're all chill everything's
trading,
great,
and the trading is going good and everything, then why not merge with them?
Yeah. So, present day archaeology has shown where exactly the settlers were, and also showed that they definitely had a close relationship with those Native Americans because they could see that through their jewelry and pottery and tools they found. So they shared the same cultural ideas, and some things suggest that they were most likely marriage ceremonies between them.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Roanoke is still a mystery, and we may never find out what actually happened, but I like to think that they just went off with each other and
fell in love,
and every settler got a Native American, and they all made little settler Native American babies, and some of us are from that union.
And they lived happily
ever after. That's what I like to think. But I can't believe that the dad, John White, wouldn't go back. Like, he left his daughter and granddaughter, and I mean, I know he really tirelessly tried, and nobody would help fund him. But why didn't he jump on board with John Smith? I mean,
they never found any bones or anything?
No, because the archaeologists would have found the bones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, nothing was... So then they didn't die there. They had to move somewhere, either in the ocean or with the Croatians, with the
weather being so bad, I could see why they would want to move.
Yeah. Because
even John White couldn't even get to the island because of the time of year he went, and everything was so bad.
Yeah.
That if he can't even move from the island to the mainland, then...
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if a big, like, hurricane came or something and, like, literally wiped them out.
Mm. Yeah, but wouldn't there be evidence of that, though?
Yeah, probably. Like, the things wouldn't be so neatly placed. They would be all trashed, like, thrashed
and the
around.
fact that they carved in the log and everything that said the Croatian or CRO or whatever you said, like, that's where they went. That leads me to believe that's where they went. That was the clue that they were leaving behind.
That was the symbol. Like, that was what they were supposed to say if it was all safe and they left on their own accord. Mm-hmm. Like, they had plans, like...
And it's not like somebody could force them to do that because they wouldn't know that's their plan.
Yeah.
So, carve what you're supposed to carve.
Leave a goodbye note, please, and make it sound, like, believable, like... No. So, yeah. That's the Roanoke story unlocked. What do you guys think?
Let us know in the comments.
We pause as if anybody's gonna respond back. Thank you guys so much for listening. We're happy that we're back again, and thank you. Just thank you. And don't forget to
share, like, and subscribe.
And email us at conspiraciesunlocked@gmail.com. Bye.